So good morning. Welcome to Yoga Flow. Obviously, those of you joining me live right now, you all know I'm Carrie Rice. I am doing yoga from home today on Monday mornings. I practice out of my little home workout room. So thank you for joining us. Today's practice, we're going to start seated back on our mats. I'm in a chair right now because I wanted to remind you that we are going to have a couple deep hip stretches today that might be nice to have either a chair handy or a wall. So I'm going to move this chair back here so it's easy for me to grab it. And I'm just using like a folding chair. You can use your counter, like a kitchen table chair. You can use the couch, a bed, wherever room you are practicing in today. I'm going to sit on a blanket as we start today's class. And just find your spine, nice and tall. So the first couple moments of every practice, we kind of just set some time aside to check in, see what's there. So that check-in might first start off being pretty physical. For me, as soon as I find that tall spine, I immediately start playing with my neck. My shoulders, my upper back, all of that just seems to hold on to tension. If you've got it hiding there as well, feel free to just kind of listen to what your neck might be asking for. And then take that check-in to your breath. Start to observe the length and the depth of your inhale. The length and the depth of your exhale. Maybe your eyes are closed or your gaze is really gentle down the tip of your nose. On your next natural inhale, allow your shoulders to rise up towards your ears. Exhale breath, let them fall down your back, down your spine. A couple more easy round shoulders lifting towards the ears on the inhale. And then down the back, down the spine on the exhale. So just a couple more. From there, go ahead and let the hands come off the lap. Maybe they start to reach towards the edges, off to the side, just kind of in a low V shape. And you can kind of sway here a little bit, let your side body open up. The next time that your hands slide towards the right, lift your left hand up towards the ceiling and then just let it reach over and across. Beautiful. Inhale, bring this back up. Let's take it the other way. So just kind of slide that left hand along your mat and then your right hand reaches over. So we're just paying attention to our side body here. Beautiful. Start to bring that back up. Let's do it one more time. Slide it over, lift opposite hand. Perfect. Bring that hand back down, slide it over, lift opposite hand. Nice. Bring it back to center. Give yourself one more big shoulder roll. And then we're just going to move ourselves onto hands and knees. Starting to move this practice up a few notches, a few paces here. We are going to have a little bit of concentration on your core, kind of tucked in and out of today's practice, along with your hips. So just start here first with just some easy kind of wagging of your tail. Side to side might feel good first. Then maybe you decide to move forward and back, kind of putting a little placement into those hands. All right, beautiful work. We're going to go ahead and place ourselves in tabletop, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. I want you to start to lift up out of your hands so that you have some engagement right in between your shoulder blades. You get a nice little stretch there. And then exhale, let your belly drop down into the floor, chin and tail lift. Let's do it again. So press into the floor. You can lift the spine this time. It can feel more like cat. And then move right into that cow. One more round at your own pace. Cat. And then drop into that cow. Now your next round, when you take that cat spine, I want you to push the tops of your feet into the earth and see if you can lift your knees just a couple inches up off the floor. And then drop those knees back down, move right into cow pose. So cat, again, lower abdominals engage, knees lift, and then drop them back down, let the belly go towards the earth. One more time, round the back, lift the knees. Perfect, drop that back down, sit back onto your heels, first child's pose of today's practice. Sitting in that child's pose. Walk the hands towards the right edge of your mat. Let your side body get some nice opening here. Sit into that left hip. Hands walk back through center. Send them over to the left edge of the mat. Sit off to that right hip. Side body open. Perfect. Hands move back towards center of mat. Rotate yourself back up through table, curl toes, down dog. First one, walk it out. See what you got going on in the back sides of your legs here. And then small steps with your feet, begin to walk forward towards your hands. If you have a set of blocks handy, you're always welcome to use those. Hang in your forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold. Plant those feet. Inhale, reach the hands up, look up. Exhale, hands out, take cactus. Hands come into heart. Beautiful. Inhale, reach, hands up. Exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale, halfway up, long spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach the hands up, peek up towards the sky. Exhale, out, cactus shape. Let's go one more time. Inhale, hands are up. Exhale, hinge and fold. Halfway up. Connect that breath. Exhale, fold. Plant the feet big. Inhale, reach them up, look up. Exhale, out to cactus. Elbows come in front of your face, 290 degrees. Exhale, sink into chair. Arms move right alongside the hips. Inhale, bring this back up. Stand up strong. Exhale, sink that back down. So you're going to keep moving in this shape for 2 more breaths. I'm going to adjust my camera just real quick. It's really bothering me. That you can't see my feet very well. Hopefully that still works. All right, perfect. Now my head's cut off. Oh, goodness. Exhale, sit down. All right, hang out in that chair pose. Bend the knees, reach the hands out. Continue to breathe. Big, full breath. Exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold. Right foot steps back. Right knee drops into the earth. Inhale, bring the hands up strong. Exhale, sweep them back down. Let them look for blocks or the floor as the toes curl under on that back foot, and you move yourself into a nice runner's lunge. You've got the left foot forward, so left hand's going to reach up, take a twist, remembering this back knee can always kiss back down to the ground if that's too big of a shape. Exhale, hands come back to block. Take a big step. You're going to bring your back foot up to meet your front foot. Forward fold, halfway lift, exhale down. As you stand, you're going to pause in a chair and hold. Stay in that chair pose. Arms can be long and extended like you're seeing on screen with me, or you can soften at the elbows. Inhale, exhale, fold. Half lift. Exhale down. This time your left foot's going to step back. Left knee drops to ground. One breath brings the hands up. Next exhale takes them back down. Maybe look for blocks. Toes curl under on that back leg. Since we've got right foot forward, we'll release this right hand up this time. Nice twist. Remembering the back knee can always kiss back down if it needs a modification. Hand comes back to earth. We're going to take that same big step from the back to the front of your mat. Forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale back to your chair and hold. Beautiful. Watch the lowest part of your spine. Make sure you can keep it nice and flat. Sometimes we have to do just a slight little tip of the pelvis in order to keep that compression out of the spine. Big exhale down towards your toes. Inhale up halfway. Exhale down, right foot steps back, spin the right heel. Now you're looking for warrior one. Chest is gonna come up. Ideally, your hips are square up your mat. Arms lift overhead. Exhale, hinge forward, sweep hands back. Inhale, bring it up. Twist up on these back toes. Exhale, turn this into a twist, just like you did before. Hands might kind of peek and hang out right here. You might go all the way down to elbows. You might spin and open arms wide. One more breath. Back through center, hands go up. Exhale, hands go forward towards the ground or block just long enough to step back foot up to meet your front, forward fold. Halfway lift, forward fold. As you inhale the rest of the way up, pause in that chair again. Hold the chair pose. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Left foot steps back this time, looking for warrior one. On the other side. Knee is bent. Arms lift up. Hip flexor has a chance to really open on this back leg. Big exhale, hinge at the hip crease, fold, and bring those hands back. Inhale, bring it back up. Spin on the back toes to a high crescent. Take it to a twist. Remembering back knee can always kiss down just like we did before. Hold that breath. Continue to breathe. Hold within the breath, I should say, not hold the breath. Hands come back through center, back up tall. Cartwheel if you need to get some stability. Bring that back foot forward. Forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Final chair. Knees are bent. Hands are up and ignited. Exhale, fold. Separate the feet as wide as the mat here. Put your right foot on the right edge, left foot on the left edge, and just kind of surrender down through the middle. If you want to put hands on the block, you certainly can. If you want to take it to ragdoll, that's good too. Right hand to left elbow, left hand to right elbow, swaying, bending knees. And then from this shape, we'll turn our feet inward towards one another, move into a squat. Knees are turned outward, kind of walking around here just a little bit within this shape. And then you're going to rotate back and forth. So your inhale breath will lift your hips up. Your exhale breath will bend your knees down. Now, if that is too far to go, you can put your hands on the chair and just go back and forth right here. Turning your toes out when your knees turn out. Or if you feel okay, see if you can drop down into that low squat and then lift the hips back up. Drop down into that low squat. Think about your spine, keep your chin away from chest and lift it back up. This is all about hips right now. So we think about squats and we think, you know what, that's way too much for my knees. Well, it's really more about hip flexibility, especially when we're going wide like this. So give it one more. If you're going too fast, your knees are going to tell you you're going too fast. Your hips are going to tell you you're going too fast. So don't feel like you got to do this speed mission. Next time you get back up to that forward fold, let's hold there. Those of you using a chair, go ahead and bend the elbows. Really try to surrender the forehead down closer to the floor. And then use your next inhale breath to come up halfway. Exhale, fold. All the way back up, friends. Inhale, reach the hands, lift them way up above the head, and then exhale them down, make cactus shape. Okay, if you haven't already located whatever you're going to use, wall, chair, whatever, for our next little balance work, feel free to do that. Like I said, I'm going to show you a chair because if I use a wall, I guess I could. I just figured my back would be to you. All right, so get yourself in a good mountain stance behind your chair or right off the wall or the couch. You're going to step forward first with your right foot, step back with your left foot, and turn the left toes out just slightly. So if your stance, when you get there, your hips are wonky and they're not forward, we're going to shift this a little bit. How we can try to turn these hips forward. So we did a lot of work with hamstrings in our class on Saturday. We're going to have a little more stretch for those hamstrings today and then add the hips. So when you get that shape, inhale to reach the hands up. And then if you're using a wall, you're just going to hinge until your hands hit the wall. If you're using a chair, you can continue to hinge until your hands hit the top of the chair. You can bend the elbows, place your head on the top. Or if you're not using any equipment, you can keep hinging maybe until you reach for a set of blocks or just for the floor. Now watching this front leg, making sure we're not hyperextending the knee, making sure that the hinge came from that hip crease. We'll stay in this shape for one more breath. Inhale, lift your chest up. Exhale, release, bend that front knee. Now the foot that is up closest to the chair is going to become your balancing leg. So take it back about 3 or 4 inches. Lift opposite foot up, bring it over and across, make a figure 4 shape with the knees. And then if your hands are on the wall or a chair, regardless, you're going to really sink down into that shape. So since you have something for stability, maybe go a little deeper today than you ordinarily would if we were out in the middle of the room trying to do this for balance. So maybe just use what equipment you have to offer some stability. Go a little bit deeper, keep that spine nice and long, flat, maybe even sit a little further towards the heel of your standing leg. Lifted foot, lifted leg on top, has a nice big flexed foot. One more breath. Now using the chair or using the wall, whatever you've chosen for your stability object, you're going to use an inhale breath to stand up, keep that figure 4 shape. Bring this foot over and around, stick it back behind, and you're going to pulse. Toenails are down towards the ground, pulsing that leg. Give it 2, 3, 4, and move right back into that same figure 4 and sit. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Come back up. Send this leg behind you. One last round. Pulse for 2, 3, 4. Swing that leg back around. Last round, sit back into that figure 4 and hold. 2, 3, 4. Step the feet apart from one another. Hands either on the top of the chair or on the wall. You'll sink the hips straight back. Create a nice long spine. Hold. One more breath. Beautiful. Chest starts to come up. We'll step the left foot forward towards your chair. Right foot is back. Okay, we're taking that same idea of hinging at the hip crease, folding forward, hands reaching out, taking that big pyramid shape wherever your arms want to land. Not hyperextending your front knee, pulling this left hip flexor back into the socket where it belongs, really opening up the back side of that front leg, hips are square. One more breath. Using the inhale to start to bring your chest up from the wall, the chair, the couch, whatever you've chosen. Front foot takes a step back about 3 or 4 inches, and we shift into our figure 4 on the other side. So taking your time here, remembering that when you have this object, you can sink a little deeper. Balance is kind of out of the equation. I'm seeing some of you kind of getting fancy and slipping your hands underneath things, taking your hands straight out on the wall, walking them down. Experiment with the props that you have in your space. Obviously, something like this turns what you might think of as chair yoga kind of upside down. All right, we're going to start that leg pulsing. So we're going to bring this right leg, the one you've crisscrossed over, back behind. Let the toenails point down towards the ground. Hands are either straight out on your wall, holding that chair. And 4, swing it across. Put yourself back into that figure 4 and hold. 2, 3, 4, swing it back behind again, pulse. 2, 3, 4, bring it around, sit back into that figure 4. See what's going on with your spine. How rounded is the top? If you've got a big round up here where your chin is, pull it away from your chest. Now that so many of you have just fixed that, let's send this back behind us one more time. Keep that spine long. All right, send it around. Last little seat. Hold. Unwinding from that figure 4, feet go long and wide again. So separate them as wide as the mat. Maybe walk them a few steps away from your chair or from your wall. See if you can really flatten out your back. I'm hopeful that you can see on screen that my spine is nice and long. Yours should feel the same. If you need to bend these knees in order to get into more of an accessible shape, feel free. If you need to walk closer and bend the elbows, feel free. One more breath. Beautiful work. Inhale, start to bend, or straighten rather, your knees. Let them walk with the feet forward towards your object of stability. And just stand all the way up. Hands coming out to the side, head will shift right and left. Take your right hand and do a nice big back stroke. Take your left hand, do a nice big back stroke. Take one more step slightly away from your chair or wall object. Lift your right knee up off the ground, flex the toes, hold. If you need to place your foot on your stability object, feel free to do so. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring that foot down. Let's try the other side. Stand up strong and tall up through the crown of the head. Remembering if you want to put your foot on your chair, couch, or tap it to the wall, that's okay. Keep the spine nice and long. Hips are square. Hold for 3, 2, and 1. Foot comes down. Step far enough away from your object that you've got some space. Inhale, hands reach up. Exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale, come up halfway, long spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach hands all the way up. And then just exhale them down into the heart. Good work. Now, if your chair or object is on your mat with you, go ahead and move it off. If you left your mat to stretch, go ahead and move back to your mat. I'm putting myself all the way at the back of the mat because I'm going to insert one more little core challenge here before we start moving down into more restful poses. Inhale, breath, hands reach high. Exhale, breath, hinge and fold. Hands look for the floor, and then you start that core activation, walking hands forward until you find a plank pose. Now, if you can take full traditional plank, let's look for that today. This chair right in my face. If you need your knees on the floor, that's fine. Inhale, breath. See if we can lift hips. Downward dog. Exhale, breath. Plank pose. One more time. Inhale, breath. Down dog. Exhale, breath. Plank pose. Hold for 3, 2, and 1. Knees drop gently into earth. Take a cobra pose. Stretch front side body. Root the hips into the earth. Pelvis into the ground. Exhale, back down. Hand shift back one big step. Push to plank or to your knees, and then find another downward dog. Right foot lifts high into the air. Bring that right knee forward, aiming to place it behind the right wrist. Right toes cut off across the mat at a diagonal. Left knee hits the ground. And then I want you to kind of walk that back foot backwards, knee toe, until you can sink into a traditional pigeon. Holding that pigeon shape, 2 more breaths. If you've been sleeping, if you've taken your hands forward out in front, start to walk them back closer. Curl the toes under on that back foot. We're going to lift this right back up into a downward facing dog. Walk it out. Left foot lifts high to the sky. Start to bring that left knee forward towards the left wrist. Toes cut over at an angle. Knee hits the ground. Walk it backwards. Stay here. You can always insert a set of blocks. You can let your chest fall forward. But ideally, you're taking your time to let those hips kind of settle in. Now, pigeon is not for all of us. Sometimes we need to roll all the way to the outer edge of the hip, get out of this shape, or take that same kind of figure 4 shape we were doing standing, maybe put it on our backs. All right, my friends, start to walk those hands back in. Final down dog, toes curl under, hips lift up. Walk the dog. All right, knees drop down into mat. Play with cat-cow, 3 breaths. Belly drops down if you want a little more for the core. As you exhale, you can push the tops of the feet into the earth and lift those knees again. Belly can drop down on your cow. Go in the back round. Maybe those knees lift up. Last one at your own pace. All right, and then we'll just start to move everything to our feet. If you happen to be practicing today with a block nearby, feel free to locate that. Bring that block and place it between the thighs. So a lot of times when we take a block into our posture, I'm going to use a different color. I'm wearing black pants, the black block. It makes it hard for you guys to see. All right, so we're going to take the block. I'm bringing it a little closer. It's intended for our inner thighs to be much more active in this one this time, squeezing that block rather than putting it between the knees. So when you feel ready, take your time, move yourself back to your back. We are going to be on our backs for the rest of the practice. So if you want to have blankets nearby or a bolster or whatever you think you might want for Savasana nearby, so you don't have to sit back up and reach for things, go for that. Lean on back to your backs. Hold this block between the thighs. And start to feel, yes, that low back really kissing into the mat. Notice how just holding this block is already making you work. If you want a little more challenge, legs can certainly extend. That's going to activate even more of the core, even more of those adductors and inner thighs. But it's okay too to have bent knees. And then we're just going to start to do just a little bit of reverse crunch or a lower abdominal work. So my knees are just barely rocking in, just enough so that my low back still stays connected with the earth. So if when you are doing this, you feel your lowest part of your spine kind of going down and then up and then down and then up, if you are making that big shape, you're going to start hurting in your low back. So only move as little or as much as need be to keep that compression of the lowest part of your spine touching the mat. A lot of times we don't need such big shapes in our crunches or in our abdominal work in order to really work that inner section of the core. So this isn't really what makes you have those flat washboard abs, but this activity, what we're doing, is about longevity. It's about spinal health. It's about posture. It's about internal core strength, what we need just to make it through the day. One more breath. All right, slowly see what you can do, bringing those feet back down to the ground the whole time, pushing that lower abdominal in towards the earth. Keep that back flat. Reach for the block. Give the hips a little bit of space, knees a little space, rock a little bit right and left. And then walk the heels as close as you can get them to the glutes. Take a nice inhale, bridge, hold. Now maintain breathing, maintain the breath while you hold that bridge. It might feel nice to reach for that block again and slide it underneath. Some of you feel comfortable with it flipped up one level or two. If that feels good to catch in a more restful bridge, feel free. If you're looking for more quad strength or you just want to hold that bridge a couple more breaths on your own, feel free. If once you get that block in place, you want to turn it to its lowest edge, flip your feet upside, flip your feet into the air, you will be upside down. Feel free to do that as well. We're definitely to the part of today's practice where things should start feeling more like your choice and less like you're just following along. So take a couple poses here that feel good to you. Start listening to what your body might still be needing. Got a couple different stretches today for hamstrings, a couple different stretches for hips, low back, shoulders, core. So is there anything else that the body might be asking for? If the answer is no to that question, feel free to start to bring your feet back down a little closer to earth. Maybe remove the block, or instead of putting it between thighs, this time maybe you put it between your knees and you shift your hips just enough to take a reclined spinal twist. Locking things over in nice space. If you've been reclined and twisted one direction, maybe it's time to switch to the other side. If you've already jumped into or relaxed into your final savasana or resting pose, feel free to stay comfortable there. If you've been twisted like I am, take your time to start to move back towards center. And then let's find our final rest. That might look like bound angle with soles of feet touching knees out towards the outer edges of the mat. Maybe it looks like traditional savasana with legs long and fully extended down the mat, or you might have chosen to rest on your side today. Rolling to either rest on the right or left side using arm or blanket as a pillow. Just let everything start to shift and settle back into place. Let the magic of today's class really settle back in. The physical movement, the asana, is complete. And now you're just here to craft that final thank you note. To release and let go of anything that's no longer serving you, whether that be aches and pains within the physical body, or something weighing heavy on the heart, making your mind work overtime. Whatever it is, realize that those thoughts, those feelings come and go. And what really matters is what's happening right here today. There's very little we can do about the future, and very little we can do about the past. Where I'd like for you to try to be in this particular moment, it's just right here in the present. Observing the breath as the belly rises towards the ceiling. And then releasing that breath as the belly gently floats back down towards the earth. Staying here for a few more moments, riding the wave, which is your breath. Slowly starting to become aware of the physical space. Gently deepening the breath. Adding movements back in as they feel appropriate, maybe bending the knees or opening and closing the hands, allowing the head to sway easy side to side. Maybe you find yourself rolling to rest on your right or left side just for a few moments in the side lying savasana, somewhat of a fetal position. Perhaps bringing one or both hands to the earth as you push into the ground and start to return yourself to a nice tall seated spine. We'll close class grace and learn how we open, just taking that tall spine, lifting and lowering the shoulders from the ears down the back. Maybe visiting any movements of the neck that feel like they can help everything. Just kind of feel off today's practice. When you feel ready, bring the hands into the heart, close the eyes, and we'll finish today's class with a reading. Today's reading is entitled, Be Who You Are, Where You Are. The more we are ourselves, the more we enjoy our life. Today, if you are in an uncomfortable, even restrictive situation, don't be afraid to speak your truth with love. Be who you are, where you are. Don't be afraid to speak your truth with love. I greatly appreciate you finding this 45 minutes for yourself, not only to move your physical body, but just to take some big, deep, full breaths. May you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you again. Namaste. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
You are welcome.